A few days back, a couple of my friends, automation friends, along with a few manufacturers who have also been connected with me for a long time, we were discussing about Industry 4.0 and the post-COVID scenario. Some of them felt that, post-COVID, the importance of 4.0 would be felt, and Industry 4.0 will have to be now implemented in many of the factories. I am a little surprised on that because Industry 4.0 has been there for a long time. It's been there for 2-3 years and we've been talking about it, and a lot of people have known about it. The importance of Industry 4.0 always remains. I mean, it always remained, will continue to remain, and I think COVID, what it has done is it has just accelerated the pace at which people may want to implement. Industry 4.0, of course, is a very, very broad area. It's like an engineering, then there is an electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, various types of engineering. So Industry 4.0 encompasses a lot of items which actually together form Industry 4.0. If you look at it from the communication angle, from the telecommunication people, they will talk about 5G being used for Industry 4.0, how 4G was used, how 5G is going to become better for Industry 4.0. If you ask somebody who is in the gateway business, he is going to tell you how gateways are a very, very important factor of Industry 4.0, and how data from the existing legacy systems to be collected and converted into format that will be applicable to the IT industry. You talk about data analytics, etc. They will talk to you about various things about analytics, big data, collecting data, collating them, giving you a lot of information and things like that. Therefore, it encompasses a lot of things. But what is very important in Industry 4.0, in my opinion, is there are three basic factors that come to play. One is the hardware which actually is required to collect the data and then convert it into a format that is knowledgeable to the IT world. The second thing is the software, where of course you talk about various formats of software, including a platform that should be used, and the various ways in which data could be collected and shown and things like that. And the third, of course, is a domain knowledge. I think without domain knowledge, implementing 4.0 in any factory or any manufacturing facility, I don't think will be very successful. Now, if you start looking at from an angle that if you want to implement 4.0 across the board, one has to look at it from a very, very high level. It's at the, I think, CEO level or COO level that they have to come up with a vision of what they want for their manufacturing facility and how do they want to implement 4.0 for themselves. Because to many people, 4.0 means different things. Therefore, it's what the management wants, it's what the CEO wants, it's what they would like to ultimately get out of 4.0. The major point that one has to understand is that it is not possible for anybody to invest huge sums of money and start converting and what they call digitization. Of course, digitization has to be done. That's part of the program for Industry 4.0. But digitization itself across the board, everywhere, could be very expensive to start with. And therefore, people have no experience. Therefore, they also have to experience what's the result of all these actions that they take. Therefore, while one must have a vision of whatever he wants, it's also necessary to understand that one has to take small steps and move in a very consolidated and in a very slow and organized form to come to an end result. I would like to actually give you an example. It may sound, of course, very funny, but an example of metro rail that's dug. In Chennai, for instance, they have a metro rail running from the airport, Meenambakam airport, to Coimbatore, which is quite a long distance. Now, when they started actually digging for the metro, they started making holes in all sorts of places. And, they would do something somewhere then large tracts of land will be left as it is. Then they will dig somewhere else, and then they would dig somewhere else, and they would dig somewhere near Coimbatore. So if one were to feel that what's going on, one would feel that they'll never get connected. And how can the train run, because they are all, it's not that they are starting from one end and digging and going on till the other end. But there is a vision, there is a plan, there is an architecture that's been made already, and what they are doing is they are picking up places which are easier to start with and also and get them connected slowly. Therefore, in the similar way, in industry also, one has to actually take small steps while being very clear about the vision. Again, giving you the example of these underground railways. Finally you will find when everything is dug and connected, you start from one destination and go to the other destination. So that's what Industry 4.0 is all about. Therefore, you have to make short and small steps. Now, what's very important in Industry 4.0? In my opinion, what's very important is one must select a platform, because you are having various types of devices, various types of protocols, various types of communication channels and distances, etc. Therefore, one must very clearly know that these have all got to be connected in some format, and therefore the easiest way is to have a platform in which all of these devices all around the factory can sit. For instance, I can tell you, in manufacturing units, there are three basic elements, one could say, beyond traditional automation, whether it is a drive, PLC, DCS, etc. Beyond that, there are three areas which are somewhat IT related. Now these IT related are, one is SCADA, which is, I would say, mostly, still a part of automation, but a lot of IT in it. Then, of course, MES, or Manufacturing Execution System, which is again integrating OT to IT. And then, of course, the other end is the IT itself, where, we are talking about IIoT and industrial Internet of Things, etc. Now, therefore, you must select a platform which can very seamlessly operate between a SCADA, MES and an IIoT. I know of a very solid platform which works on it. Ignition by Inductive Automation is a solid platform which started originally as a SCADA company, but then very quickly, they were able to actually develop the platform into a solid IIoT platform with MES strewn in. Therefore, the option of putting Industry 4.0 gives you the option of actually connecting from anybody to anybody. It's against an hierarchical structure where one would go from one stage to the next stage to the next stage. Here, you could talk to any stage to any stage. It's seamlessly possible. And that's what a good platform actually creates. The other important thing is communication, collecting the data and communicating and securely communicating. One of the major attributes, in case of, I would say, putting Industry 4.0 is, we must try and somehow actually see that the devices and the applications are delinked. At the moment, you will find devices and the applications are all linked. So if you can delink the devices from the application and move it through a common broker, then actually you will have the option of connectivity in many formats, and you can very easily actually take one side of it will be publishing and the other side will be subscribing, and that way you can connect many equipment, many devices, and then operate seamlessly. This is the future in which it is going, and one of the most strongest protocol in this is the MQTT. MQTT actually works very beautifully. It actually, in very small bandwidth, it can give a lot of data. It was originally actually formed some 10-12 years back by a gentleman called Harlan Nipper, and somehow or the other, it never found its bearing till very recently, when actually it became a standard for Industry 4.0, more or less, because it's a very powerful product. And so that's offered by a company called Ceres Link, which also operates along with Ignition. So I think these are some of the very important factors, when you want to actually implement Industry 4.0. And what I personally think is, that when you're creating a structure, when you're creating an architecture, then it's very important. While the vision will come from the top, you have to work bottoms up. You have to start from the bottom. You take areas which give you maximum pain points, where you think that you will get the maximum benefit out of actually implementing it, and then you start from there. And because you have used a solid platform, and because you have planned yourself pretty well, you can do anything you want within a plant and later find that they are all connected. Whether the present generation or the future generation, they are all fully connected. And now once you have connected your entire plant, you may be doing a similar thing in another plant, but then you can connect the two plants together, and you can connect multiple plants together. And all this is possible if you have a proper vision and you exactly know what you have to do. Industry 4.0 is going to give tremendous benefits. COVID is, of course, has come in just now to give you the benefits of Industry 4.0 because it inherently, reduces manpower to some extent. Therefore, social distancing and those things which are attributes of COVID today are all found within Industry 4.0, and therefore it acts as a catalyst. But actually, Industry 4.0 is going to benefit manufacturing in a very major way. And I think all factories should look at Industry 4.0 as something which is doable, because when one can go in stages, but it has to be planned very well, so that whatever one chooses, whatever one platform one chooses, whatever action one takes, is all such that he can keep on moving forward without having to look back and say that he's made a wrong decision. And I think that's where the success of Industry 4.0 will lie. Thank you.